How's it going, everybody? Adrian Simple here from the Gaming Observer, and welcome back to the show for Friday, July 17th. Folks, we have a tremendous lineup here for you today, so let's go ahead and start things off with Microsoft. Yes, Microsoft has just announced that Project xCloud is going to be added to the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Edition at no additional cost, beginning this September. So let me break this down for you here. Xbox Game Pass has 3 versions of itself. There's Console, PC, and Ultimate, which is both of those plus Xbox Live. If you have an Ultimate subscription in September, then you're also going to get access to xCloud, which is their version of game streaming, a la Google Stadia. The product has been in preview for the past couple of years, or beta, so I guess now they're able to roll it out at a wider scale. 100 games are going to be available to play, which you don't have to buy individually. However, it's only on mobile and tablet devices. So there isn't yet game streaming for PC or console, but I can only imagine that it's in their pipeline at some point. I think this is a really interesting move, because we knew this was going to happen, but we did not know that it was just going to be lumped in. A lot of people expected an additional purchase to get access to xCloud. Which obviously you're going to have to do if you don't have Game Pass, but I mean, something like 10 million people have Game Pass, so a lot of people already have access to it. Anyway, really cool stuff. In other Xbox news, they have officially discontinued the production of Xbox One consoles. The only thing that is sticking around is the Xbox One S, which is still being sold, but the S All-Digital Edition, X, and I believe just the regular Xbox One have been discontinued. Now, obviously, availability is going to vary as the remaining stock gets sold off, and retailers perhaps take in some old consoles to resell. But hey, with the Series X around the corner and the rumors that they're going to have a cheaper option which would be comparable in pricing to the current consoles, the move makes sense. The developers of Hello Neighbour have been acquired, or as VentureBeat puts it, acqui-hired. Indie publisher TinyBuild took the team who made the game, previously under the name of Dynamic Pixels, and they will be relocated to the Netherlands under the name Eerie Guest Studios. I don't know if this means that Dynamic Pixels itself is no more, but it certainly sounded like it. And hey, TinyBuild was actually the publishers of Hello Neighbour, so the two teams already had a working relationship. Kinda makes sense. They have also said that they will be investing $15 million into the franchise, of which the acquisition is part of. And of course, that investment probably is going to expand the franchise a whole bunch, like they already have. You know, they don't have just the video games, but they have board games and graphic novels and animated shows and books. They really made a franchise out of it. Hey, just a correction from yesterday's show. I said that the soccer game PES 2021 was not going to have a physical release. It turns out it will, but it's technically just the 2020 game that we already have, but with a seasonal update. Honestly, the marketing around this has been pretty confusing, but I believe this is now the accurate thing to say. Regardless, the game is going to be cheaper as a result, since it's just the same game, but ultimately, if you do want that content, you need to buy it separately. It's not going to be some kind of DLC, like I said yesterday. Anyway, just figured I should correct what I said. Okay, we got 2 things here that have been delayed that I figured I should tell you about. First of all is Destiny 2, which had the Beyond Light expansion, originally scheduled for September 22nd, now coming out on November 10th, so a few months of delay. They said, quote, "The past few months have been a challenge and will continue to be during this pandemic. We've learned to create together in a new way by having to work apart from one another," end quote. And the other thing here is Rogue Legacy 2, which was originally hitting early access next week, is now coming out on August 18th. They basically said that some features were close to being done, and they'd rather just finish them completely before launching the game, as opposed to working on it through the early access period. Either way, I'm extremely excited for that one, and I'll definitely be letting you know how it goes. Anyway, folks, that is going to be all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. And hey, I'm going to be back this weekend with some very special shows, including my impressions of the game Neon Abyss, which is absolutely tremendous. And then, of course, back with the news on Monday. So until then, happy gaming, everyone. Hello, the TGO After-Show. I think that when it comes to game streaming, I mean, You know, obviously Stadia has been in the conversation for a long time, and there have been other attempts at it, like PlayStation Now has been around for a while, Nvidia's GeForce Now has been around, but I don't think any of them are gonna have the oomph that xCloud does, you know? I mean, Stadia caught people's attention because it was Google, but unfortunately they were the ones that had something to prove, right? They had to come out and say, yes, we are entering the gaming space and we're gonna do it right with game streaming. And then they just bungled it. And in the case of xCloud, I mean, they've been testing the product for a very long time. They know how it works. And they're putting it into a service that already has 10 to 11 million people using it. I know that if you listen to this show a lot, you probably think I'm some kind of Xbox fanboy, or at least just that I talk about how great they are a lot. And obviously, on a grander scale, Xbox isn't perfect, right? There's plenty of things to dislike about it. But when it comes to the way that they have been acting in the last 2 years, and the way it appears as though they're going to act in the next 2 years, I don't know, it just feels like a no-brainer to me. It's too bad that it's only available on smartphones and tablets. I mean, I have a smartphone, I have a compatible smartphone, but I don't really do a whole lot of gaming on it. I just feel like when a screen is as small as this, it's kind of hard to, I don't know. And I know that's easy to say as somebody who has, you know, a PC and an Xbox already. But hey, you know, if you've got good internet and you don't have a console or a computer, you know, $15 a month to get Game Pass Ultimate and then have 100 games on your phone that are like Halo? Jeez, man, how do you compete with that? How does Stadia compete with that? Anyway, in other news, I'm gonna be back tomorrow talking about Neon Abyss, which, boy oh boy, it's a good game. It's a tremendous game. I mean, I'll tell you all about it tomorrow, but I just want to say, you know, we've been getting, quite a few review codes here at The Observer. Neon Abyss is one of them. I don't really want to talk about the other ones right now, but it's becoming more and more likely, anyway, that I get my hands on some early copies of games. And I had the weirdest time playing Neon Abyss because, you know, when it comes to roguelikes, you can almost always Google the answer to the thing that is confusing. If you don't know what one of the 500 items in the Binding of Isaac is, you just go to Google or you go to platinumgod.co.uk, and there's a nice, easy website to tell you what it does. If you don't know how to find that stupid little hidden room in Enter the Gungeon, you know, the one where there's the fireplace and then you gotta put the water barrel through it and then there's like a hidden switch behind there and everything. You know, the thing that they don't tell you anything about, you're just supposed to stumble upon it? At least you can find out about it through a wiki. But when I am playing Neon Abyss 3 days before the game is out and I don't know how something works, I'm screwed. I kinda just have to try and figure it out or I don't know, deal with it until the game is out. And that was such a weird feeling. But also, you know, it's a feeling that... I don't know, it's the kind of thing I've been chasing since I was a kid, right? Like when you're a kid, you go, ooh, video games early. Like if I had the chance to get my hands on a new game 2 days before it came out, and I could brag about it to all of my friends, like this is me right now living the dream of my childhood. And so to actually have that moment where I'm like, oh, I literally have this game and very, very few other people do as well, it feels good, let me tell you. Anyway, folks, that'll wrap us up for today. Thank you for joining me. Like I said, back this weekend with Neon Abyss. Back with the news on Monday, and until then, farewell.